Hey there, and welcome. This is my review of the movie Nine. I just saw it the other day. First of all, I loved it. It's another take of the whole theme of man versus machine, like we've seen 1,000 times in stuff like Terminator and even The Matrix. The whole single methodical machine versus the complexity of human beings and what it really means to be human, and the soul versus just raw intelligence. And it's a story about this scientist who instills his intellect into machine, and the things that go wrong when that happens, which it always does in science fiction. So the machine is used to make weapons and war machines, and so wants to go to war with their enemies. And what happens after the enemies are dead is, of course, the machine turns on its creators, just like in Terminator. So pretty much Skynet wipes out humanity, but just before it does, the scientist puts his own humanity into these little dolls, these little stitchpunks, little made out of burlap sacks and such, and just found materials. And each little doll has its own personality, and I really got to thinking about what each doll represented. For one, they're all numbered. They all have the little numbers on them. One being the leader, and not just any leader, but just the elderly leader who will enforce the status quo at all costs, namely by running and hiding. Two is the wizard, the teacher, who appreciates having wisdom and the need to pass it on, and he'll do what he has to do to pass it on. 3 and 4 are really interesting, and one of the more standout characters. First of all, they're mute, they don't talk, and they actually communicate with each other by projecting out of their eyes into each other, and that's how they communicate with each other. But everyone else, they just pantomime everything they do, and their goal is to preserve knowledge, all that was beforehand, all history and whatever. And I think they kind of might represent things like the left and right side of the brain. I have to think about it more, but it was interesting seeing the two twins. They're really cute, and I mean, they're awesome. 5, I think he, to me, represents the everyman. He knows what's right and wrong, and he'll do the right thing, but he's still, he's just a regular schmo. 6. 6 was one of my favorite characters. He's this crazy guy who draws the same thing over and over and over and over again. But the thing is, he represents the artistic vision that everyone else will think he's crazy, but actually he knows what's going on, or and even what will go on, and he's often ignored for it and ostracized for it. Number 7, she was played by the only female of the group, and also she just plays this warrior who actually thinks about what she's doing, not just blindly following orders. 8 is the classic warrior, just straight up pure brute strength, who is easily manipulated, and he likes to get high on magnets. Excellent role model for the kids. And number 9 is our classic hero. Runs his world. He doesn't quite understand, but he knows what's right, and he's the only one with courage to really stand up for it. And his courage influences and infects everyone else to also join in on the cause. It's one of the best children's films of the year, I think. Even though it has some scary parts, Um, like the monster is really reminiscent of the monsters from Toy Story, but it's like the scariest parts of Toy Story. Check my notes. I think it's one of the best representations of the post-apocalyptic world since Mad Max. It's kind of like Mad Max meets Little Big Planet for PlayStation 3. It's a great movie, and it's really dark, and one of the most interesting parts of the movie is that it's very little dialogue. It's a lot of action, but it's very quiet, insofar as like the characters really emote what they're doing and not so much explaining what they're doing. That was definitely, it's a movie that you can take the kids to and they'll like it, and if you want to see some action, there's a lot of action in the movie, but also it brings up a lot of interesting things to think about, even if you're into seeing a movie beyond what is just in front of you. So I think that most people would like this movie. Alright, so talk to you next time.